Welcome to Biology online class. Today we will discuss about digestion in the small intestine. Last class we have discussed about digestion in the small intestine, the anterior part of the small intestine. So that is the duodenum. Digestion in the duodenum is wall. Today we will discuss about digestion in the middle part of the small intestine, jejunum. Yes, this is the liver. Pancreas also over. Yes, digestion in the small intestine. Anterior part, duodenum is over. Look here. Small intestine has the three parts. The anterior part is called duodenum. Yes. Middle part is called jejunum. Yesterday we have discussed about it. How food is digested in the duodenum. The digestive juices received from the liver and pancreas and their enzymes, how they are digested are over. Today we will discuss about the digestion in the middle part of the small intestine. That is called as a jejunum. In the wall of the small intestine, several gland cells are present. These are called intestinal glands. Yes, they are called intestinal glands. Intestinal glands. Yes. What are the intestinal glands? The digestive glands that are present in the small intestine are called intestinal glands. Intestinal glands. Yes. So these intestinal glands are producing the digestive juice is called a intestinal juice. This intestinal juice, it is also known as succus encredicus. Succus encredicus. Yes. Now we will discuss what are the enzymes are present in the intestinal juice or succus encredicus. Several enzymes are present in the intestinal juice. These enzymes are complete the digestion of the food. These enzymes are complete the digestion of the food. The enzymes present in the intestinal juice are peptidase. Peptidase, sucrase, maltase, galactase, lactase, dextrase, nucleosidase, nucleotidase. These are the enzymes are present in the intestinal juice. What are the enzymes are present in the intestinal juice? They are peptidase, sucrase, maltase, galactase, lactase, dextrase, nucleosidase, Now we will discuss how these enzymes are digesting the food. Yes, first peptidase. Peptidase is digesting the peptides. Peptides to amino acids. Yes, peptides to amino acids. Sucrase. It is digesting the sucrose to glucose. Maltase. Digesting the maltose to glucose. Galactase. Digesting the galactose. Yes, galactose to glucose. Yes. Next up, lactase. Lactase digesting the lactose to glucose. Yes. Dextrase digesting the dextrose to glucose. Yes. This two nucleosidase, nucleotidase. These two enzymes are act on the nucleic acids. Yes, nucleic acids. What are the nucleic acids of DNA and RNA? Yes, DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. RNA stands for ribonucleic acid. Yes, DNA, RNA. Yes, what is the DNA? DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. RNA stands for ribonucleic acid or ribonucleic acid. Ribonucleic acid. So this DNA, RNA, these two are digested by nucleosidase and nucleotidase. They are digesting the nucleic acids to amino acids. Yes, amino acids. And this last enterokinase. Yes, what is this? It is converting the trypsinogen and chymotrypsinogen. Yes. These two are present in the pancreatic juice. Trypsinogen converted as a trypsin. Chymotrypsinogen converted as a chymotrypsin. Yes. So they are the enzymes and their functions. Peptides, peptidase, sucrase, maltase, galactase, lactase, dextrase, nucleosidase, nucleotidase, enterokinase. All these are the enzymes present in the intestinal juice or succus entericus, in which peptidase enzyme digesting the peptides to amino acids. Sucrase enzyme digesting the sucrose to glucose. Maltase enzyme digesting or converting maltose to glucose. Galactase converting galactose to glucose. Lactase converting lactose to glucose. Dextrase converting dextrose to glucose. Nucleosidase, nucleotidase. These two enzymes are act on the nucleic acids DNA and RNA. So they are digested as a amino acids. Enterokinase enzyme. It is converting the trypsinogen to trypsin, chymotrypsinogen to chymotrypsin. These two enzymes are present in the pancreas juice. They are the inactive forms. Then trypsinogen converted as a trypsin, chymotrypsinogen converted as a chymotrypsin by this enterokinase enzyme. Yes. In this way, food is completely digested. Yes, proteins are digested in the three steps. Proteins. In the first step, proteins are digested in three steps. In the first step, proteins, they are converted as a peptones by pepsin enzyme, pepsin and trypsin. Yes, two enzymes, pepsin and trypsin. Yes. In the second step, peptones. Peptones are digested as a peptides. Peptides by chymotrypsin. And last one, peptidase. Yes. It is converting the peptides. Yes. Peptides to amino acids. Amino acids. In this way, proteins are digested in the three steps. Yes. Yes. Proteins are digested in the three steps. What are the three steps? Proteins are converted as a peptones by two enzymes. In the stomach, pepsin. In the pancreas, trypsin. Yes. So both are converted to produce peptones. What is the difference? In the stomach, in the acidic presence. In the pancreas, means the duodenum, alkaline presence, base presence. First step, proteins are converted as a peptones. In the second step, peptones are converted as a peptides. In the third step, peptides are digested as amino acids. In this way, all the food substances are digested. All the carbohydrates, sucrose, maltose, galactose, lactose, dextrose, all these are converted as a, means digested as a glucose. So glucose is the simple form of the carbohydrate. It's what enzymes are act on the proteins, pepsin, trypsin, chymotrypsin, peptidase. Four enzymes are act on the proteins. What are the enzymes that act on the carbohydrates? Sucrase, maltase, galactase, lactase, dextrase. Not only these five enzymes. Yes, in the saliva there is a salivary amylase, ptyalin. In the pancreas there is amylase. So amylase, salivary amylase, these are five enzymes. All these are act on the carbohydrates. They are digesting the carbohydrates. Yes, in this way, food is digested. Yes. Look here. After the digestion, all the digested food is enter into the posterior part of the small intestine. Yes. Posterior part of the small intestine. This is called as a ileum. What do we call this? Ileum. Yes. In the ileum, several smaller finger-like projections are there. These are called villi. What are the villi? The small finger-like projections which are present in the ileum are called villi. Yes. Villus is a singular. Yes. Look here. What is the structure of the villus? Yes. Villus. If we can have a single villus, yes, this is the villus. Yes. Yes. This is the villus. This villus has the, look here, these are the epithelial cells. Epithelium. Yes. Next, it has the mucin layer. And it has the blood capillaries. Yes, blood capillaries. And this is the end of the lymphatic system. That's why last part of the lymphatic system. That's why it is called as a lateral lymphatic system. Lateral lymphatic system. Yes. So each villus is consists of epithelium, mucin layer, blood capillaries, and a lateral lymphatic system. Yes, in which epithelium, blood capillaries, and a lateral lymphatic system. These three are a help in the absorption of digested food. So, generally, what is the function of this villus? Villus is help in the absorption of digested food from ileum to blood. Yes, it is also important question for 2 marks and even 4 marks also. Yes, describe the structure of the villus and what are the functions of this villus. Yes, what are the villi? The finger-like projections which are present in the posterior part of the small intestine called ileum are called villi. The finger-like, the small finger-like projections are present in the ileum are called villi. Yes. So this villi is made up of epithelium, mucin, blood capillaries, and lateral lymphatic system. Yes. So what are the functions of this villi? Villi are a help in the to increase the surface area of the ileum. The first function is to increase the surface area of the ileum. And the second function of the villi are they help in the absorption of digested food. Absorption of digested food. Yes. So next look here. Where this ileum open into the large intestine, there is a small sphincter or wall. Sphincter. This sphincter is called as a ileal sphincter. Yes, ileal sphincter. Yes. Ileal sphincter. What is this ileal sphincter? Which allows the flow of undigested food. Flow of undigested food from ileum to large intestine. Does not allow the process of food, undigested food from large intestine to ileum. Yes. Next part in the human digestive system is a large intestine. Yes, what is it? Large intestine. This large intestine, it is about 1.5 meter long. The length of large intestine is 1.5 meter. Yes, 1.5 meter. Or 1.5 meters. 1.5 meters. The length of large intestine is 1.5 meters. And the inner diameter is 3 centimeters. 3 centimeters. Inner diameter is 3 centimeters. Yes. This large intestine is also have the 2 parts. Yes. What are the 2 parts in the large intestine? Yes. There are 2 parts in the large intestine, anterior part and posterior part. This anterior part is called cecum. Yes. The anterior part of the large intestine is called cecum, and the posterior part of the large intestine is called colon. There are two parts in the large intestine. Anterior part is called cecum, and the posterior part is called colon. Yes, look here. Where the large intestine is open into the, where the small intestine is open into the cecum or large intestine, there is a one finger like projection. This is called as a appendix. Yes, what is the appendix? The finger like projection that is present where the ileum meet with the large intestine. That is called as a appendix. You know what is this appendix? Yes. This appendix has no role in the human digestion. It has no enzymes for the digestion of the food. It has no role in the human being. This appendix is well developed. Some of the herbivorous segments like rabbit and horses. Yes, in rabbit and a horse, appendix plays the important because they have the bacteria present in the appendix of this rabbit and a horse producing the cellulase enzyme. This is cellulase enzyme digesting the cellulose to glucose. That's why, and the rabbit and the horses like herbivorous animals are digesting the cellulose. What about ruminants? You know what are the ruminants? Animals which can show the rumination, they are called ruminants. What are the rumination? Yes, the process of taking of food or swallowing the food without chewing. After having the food, they bring back the food from stomach to mouth and chewing leisurely again swallow the food. That is called as a rumination. Yes, some animals like cows and buffaloes, they swallow the food without chewing. After having the food, they sit at one place and bring back the food from the stomach into mouth and chewing leisurely and again swallow into their stomach. That process is called as a rumination, and animals are called ruminants. In the ruminants, in their stomach only bacteria are present, they are producing the cellulase enzyme. Yes. But in a human being, the bacteria required for the synthesis of cellulase are not present in our appendix. That's why in a human being, appendix is a useless organ. It has no function. That's why in a human being, appendix is considered as a vestigial organ. Useless organ. Yes, appendix is a vestigial organ in the human being. Not only this appendix, several other organs also there. Nearly 180 vestigial organs in the human being. That's why human body is considered as a museum of vestigial organs. Why the human body is considered as a museum of vestigial organs? Nearly 180 vestigial organs are present in the human body. Not only this appendix, and externally nails, hair present on the body, and mammary glands in the male human being. Like this, 180 vestigial organs in the human body. That's why human body is considered as a museum of vestigial organs. Yes. Next, the anterior part of the large intestine is called colon. Posterior part is called as a anterior part is called cecum. Posterior part is called colon. The anterior part of the large intestine is called cecum, and the posterior part of the large intestine is called colon. Yes. How it is helps the human being? When the undigested food is entered into the large intestine, it is processed along the length of large intestine. At the same time, water bicarbonates present in the undigested food are reabsorbed into blood. Water bicarbonates present in the undigested food are absorbed from the large intestine to blood. Whenever this undigested food is reached the terminal part of colon, that is called rectum. Whenever undigested food is entered into the rectum, in which remaining water bicarbonates are completely reabsorbed. That's why a semi-solid fecus is formed. Yes, a semi-solid fecus is formed in the rectum. It is stored until the apex of this fecus. That's why rectum is considered as a septic tank of human body. Then finally, from rectum to undigested food will send out, means fecus is sent out through the anus. In this way, undigested food is sent out from human body to outside. Yes. Remaining topic we will continue the next time. Thank you.